Well, we only did 12, so it wasn't, you know, hopefully you'll still be quite fresh after that. It wasn't like 22 or, you know. But I feel what was good about coming back, well, what was good was that we got to do a second season. But also that there was a lot of tension in the first season because it was such a new thing to have a gay leading character and in a cop show, and you know, there's a lot of things that people were worried about. It was a departure for network television, and so what was good was that all the things they were worried about were actually the things that the audience liked and made the show different and special. So everyone kind of relaxed a bit more in the second season. We got to kind of play to our strengths. So that was, it felt like we were coming back with some validation. And so, you know, we got on with it. And also I think our hair is a metaphor. In the first season, Bayana had long blonde girl hair. Now she has short hair. In the first season, I had dyed brown hair and I looked like a middle-aged man with dyed hair. And now I have my real hair. So I think that's indicative. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think we actually, in the first season, in the first episode, there's a swimmer, an Olympic swimmer, who of course is drowned in his own swimming pool. And in that episode, I say, gosh, I had such a crush on him when I was, you know, younger. And Bayana goes, yeah, me too. They wouldn't have let us say that in the first season. That was too sort of, I don't know, that would have worried them. The fact that we were agreeing on a crush. And that I was even saying I had a crush on someone who was same-sex, even though I'm married to someone who's same-sex. I just think it, you know, that would seem to me a big sort of sign that they kind of got it a bit more and they were letting us off the leash a bit. Well, I think it's groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking when it came out because it was the first one. And I mean, I don't know, I actually don't follow these things that much about what other networks are doing or watch the shows. But, you know, it bizarrely, even though we're living in the time of Trump and the time of great oppression and women's rights are severely under threat and trans people are being persecuted and, you know, it's a terrifying time. But it feels like in television and film, quite progressive messages are being put out. So that's to me is positive. And I think it shows that artists are always the ones in our society that we look to kind of send out a positive message and a message that needs to be heard. So that's what we have to keep doing. Even though I talk endlessly about the fact that he's gay, in the show, his gayness is not that big a deal. It's not that much of it's certainly not the narrative. It doesn't lead the narrative. So I think that's important because mostly in the past, as you say, we were always represented as our sexuality or our gender issues were prominent in what our stories were, and that gets so boring. So I think it's, I hope that people will I love when people say blah, 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 and also they're gay, because that's what life's like. Nobody really goes through life being gay all the time. Well, I mean, you know what I mean.
Like I don't say I'm a heterosexual to everybody.
This is it, like I've been saying this today. I get gay actor, Alan Cumming, Scottish bisexual actor, Alan Cumming, queer Scottish actor, Alan Cumming. You would never say straight actor, blah, blah, would you? And I wouldn't want anyone to be, you know, I just don't think it's important. And that's what I think we're doing, is making it not important, even though it is, if you see what I mean. Let's stop talking about it. Yes, like this is something it's very important to me. I hate the fact that in America I live in a country that is so obsessed with guns, and I feel there's just the fact that the government has still not changed anything about the gun laws, and this huge reform has to happen, and just even background checks. There's still not background checks, mandatory background checks when you buy a gun. So it didn't sit well with me that I would have a gun in a show. So in the first season, I only used my gun to shoot a glass of poisoned iced tea out of Whoopi Goldberg's hands, and that saved her life. So I think that's all right. But in the second season, I just decided not to have a gun. And the gun people would come over, and we were doing a scene where other characters would have guns, and they'd bring my gun, and I'd go, I don't want my gun. And like, they were like, what? I said, I'm just not going to have a gun. And of course, I'm the leader of the show. What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Shoot me? And so I just didn't have a gun at all in the second season. I just didn't have one. And so, although I would like a gun to shoot that person that's making that noise over there, kidding. And it was sort of like I would go into rooms and other people would have guns, and I would be like, inside my shield of protection. So it just was a thing I just decided not to. And I think that's what you've got to do. You don't, I don't like it. That's the thing I like least about this show, that there's guns.
And apart from
these guns. Well, I think actually it was, again, with the second season that everyone relaxed a bit. So the writers were able to, we would actually make jokes at very serious moments. And I like that. I think I enjoy that kind of writing and that kind of performance, because to me, that's what life is like. And I think, I'm Scottish, and I think we have a very dark sense of humor. And so I've always enjoyed doing that. And I as a person, I find humor in the darkest moments of my life. And also I think, great writers do that. Like when I've played Shakespearean roles, they're always hilarious, actually. There's a lot of laughs in Hamlet, for instance. And I just think that's the thing that we've got to, I think people, we compartmentalize so much in our lives now and our art. And I think actually you can blur the lines a lot more than people think. It's really weird actually, because you finish a thing, and I'd never done a character for that length of time ever. And so you just think, well, that's it, it's dead, it's over. And then you think, oh, no, it's still going on. Like, my daughter's in it, they talk about him, and it's like this other sort of alternative reality where Eli is still alive, and I hear about him. It's really weird. So, and I haven't seen The Good Fight, but I see the people, because we shoot in the same studios. And so I see them and everything. And I bumped into Sarah, my daughter, the other day in New York. So it's bizarre. But they did ask me to do it, and I was going to do it, but they didn't, we couldn't make a deal. They wouldn't pay me. So, showbiz. It is called showbiz.